Where are you from in Poland?
I'm from Poland.
Ah, there. The live stream is online now. We are live.
Mm-hmm.
Which part of Poland? I was there a couple of weeks ago.
Warsaw.
Warsaw. Fair enough. The capital. I'm from Potsdam, which is very close to Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah, welcome to this sprint of Rundfunk MITBESTIMMEN. Usually sprints work like that. There are 3 questions that you answer. It's like, what have you done? What are you going to do? And where are the blockers? So within the team, people can help each other if they know where are the blockers. Since you are very, very new, I will just start with me and tell you what I was doing. So my last contribution to this project was that we, together with Lilibet, implemented the functionality that people can update the location on our website. So we are creating data visualizations, and if people want, they can tell where they are from. So we can even create more meaningful data. And that worked out pretty well. I learned something because I think Lilibet has had an amazing learning experience. And I would actually like to repeat that with you, Tomasz. It's my first time to be a project manager of an open source project. And I also have to learn how to onboard people and so on.
Okay.
So I think that worked out pretty well. Yeah. And I would like to, for the future, I'm going to implement a feature that people can edit the details of a broadcast. So no blockers so far for me. Yeah, that's basically it. Tomasz, can you tell me a little bit about you? Like, what would you like to learn, and how can I give you the best learning experience?
Well, I started learning coding for real for like 4 months ago.
4 months.
I'm pretty new to this. I'm finishing CES 169 Berkeley, the advanced part. I finished the first part also. I also finished Python course from MIT, Introduction to Computational Thinking, I think it was called. And I'm also doing CS50. I think it's Harvard X upgrade. So I'm learning pretty hard this summer.
Great, that's awesome.
Nonetheless, I like Rails the most, and I would like to go in that direction.
Yeah.
I would like to expand my Rails knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great choice. Me myself, I'm original a Rails developer, slowly learning more and more frameworks. So to give you a little overview about this project Rundfunk MITBESTIMMEN from the technology side, it is more complicated than the other applications, I guess. It's not a pure Rails application. It has also a front-end part. So that means that you have basically 2 applications talking to each other. Okay, one application is the Rails application, which runs on the server. And we have another application, which is an Ember.js application. And this is running in your browser. And both communicate through a interface, the JSON-API. Okay, and
JSON-API.
JSON. Say it again.
They are communicating using JSON data?
Yes, JSON data first, and the schema is defined. So they follow a certain specification, and the specification is called JSON API. You can find it on the web. It's great. It's very important for single-page applications.
Okay, and this application is more a single-page application or more like backend centric?
Yeah, it is both, right? So there's part that happens in the front end and part that is happening in the back end. And if you go on our GitHub site and check out the issues, I think we tagged the issues based on where the changes have to be done. Is it rather front end or back end or both? I think you can click on those labels like back end, and then you see only issues that, for example, happen in the back end.
Okay. And will I be able to help knowing only Rails?
Say it again?
Yeah. Will I be able to help knowing only Rails as of now? Because I'm not really fluent in Ember. I don't know Ember at all.
Yeah, that's not a big problem. So I would suggest you if you don't have any preferences, just to learn both.
Okay.
It is great to if you, for example, want to work as a developer. It's great to have experience in both frameworks, I would say.
Okay.
So nowadays, okay, Rails is a fairly old framework. It is, I think it was created in 2004 and it hyped at 2008, and by now it's a very mature framework. I still like it, and it's great for server-side rendering. So anything that happens on the server. In modern days, people demand for, or users demand for, a great user experience. So you don't want to have a lot of requests. You don't want to have a full page reload. And that happens with traditional Rails applications. So you send a request to the server. The Rails application will generate some HTML and send that back to the browser. Okay, and it doesn't have as good user experience like modern applications, because you have to reload everything basically. And in modern applications, just for example, render parts of the website, and also the rendering itself happens on the client side. So on your laptop or on your mobile phone, whatever. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So, for example, React is a library for client-side rendering. So is Angular. There is, I think, Vue. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. There's so many frameworks, and I personally prefer Ember.js because it's probably good for beginners also, because it has conventions. So I'm currently learning React, and it is very complicated to just to get to configure everything your own, for example. And so in Ember, people follow certain conventions, and that makes things easier.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you can just learn both. It's up to you.
All right. I'm currently learning also HTML and CSS, and maybe my skills will be of some help to you, I hope, in the coming days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're starting with HTML and CSS, you will experience a very steep learning curve, because it's a lot of things that you have to teach yourself at once. Anyhow, yeah, I would say let's think about something that we can work on together. What do you think?
Okay. Yes.
I mean, my problem with, or my learning from last time was that it's best if I, for example, create some tests and make some scaffolding that I can give to people and guide them in the right direction. So that's how we worked. So that's how I worked together with Lilibet, and that worked out quite well, because sometimes I don't even know myself how complex a certain task is. You know, I think this is an easy task, and in the end, it turns out to be a very complex task. So I think that's a good idea to like. For example, I create a pull request, and you work based on that pull request, and you continue on. Do you know what a pull request is?
Yes.
Great. Do you know how to use Git?
Yes.
Great. All right.
Do we have different branches in this app, or there is only a master branch?
Yes, we do have different branches. We follow the standard Git flow. So we have one master branch, and whenever there's a feature, you would create a branch from the master branch for that feature, implement that feature, send a pull request. That pull request will be merged into master again.
Okay, so there is only one person who can merge with master, or everyone can?
I think there are many people who can do that. I can also add you as a collaborator if you want.
No. I don't care. No.
I will start my.
Not now.
Don't
Do you
worry.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will just start my. Oh no, I cannot share my screen. I have to add an extension. There we go. Okay. I will just start to share my screen so you can see. Yeah. Our GitHub website. So this is it. And did you try to install the application locally?
In GitHub or?
Like on your laptop?
I tried to install GitHub desktop application today. Yes.
So
it's a quite new thing, yes, isn't it?
Say it again.
This is quite a new thing. This desktop application, yes, for GitHub.
A desktop application for GitHub. Usually, you don't need a desktop application for GitHub. GitHub is a website, and probably you're talking about a tool or a GUI for Git itself, right?
No, I think there is a desktop application for GitHub. It's pretty new, I think.
I don't know. I'm not using any application for GitHub.
I just downloaded it today. I hope it's legit.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just using.
So you mean you asked me whether I installed the application on which we are working? Yes. You mean this? No, I was not trying to do that.
Yeah, that's a great starting point for for any beginner. Can you actually see my screen, my terminal?
Yes.
Can you see, is the font size big enough?
It could be bigger.
Bigger. I see. I cannot.
Because you're sharing two screens at the same time, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will somehow manage to read it.
Okay. All right. So I'm here in my on my terminal, and usually I just use the Git command line. I just say Git, and for example, I say, I don't know, Git pull, and that's basically it. Right. So for example, the master branch was updated, and then now check out the master branch and say git pull again, and that will pull new changes into my master branch. So yeah, for you, it is a great, I would say it is a great start to that you try out to install the application. And I would suggest that you follow this link. I'll put that into the Slack.
Okay.
Come on. There we go. Somebody joined us. Hello? Who is it? I can't hear you. On, and he's gone, or she. Anyhow, Tomasz, you're still there?
Yes.
Okay. So if you follow this link, you will get to our README, and there's the installation instructions. And I kindly suggested to you that you try to install the application on your laptop. What operating system are you using?
Windows 10.
Windows. Okay. It's sometimes a little bit complicated, for example, to get decent Ruby on Windows. So Ruby, for example, is not pre-installed, and you have to install on your own. Did you do that already?
Can I install this application on my Cloud9 desktop?
I guess so, yes. I think that's how Matthew is doing it. He's indeed installing everything in the cloud. You can do that as well. That's a virtual machine, basically.
Yes, I was using this Cloud9 desktop for CS 169 and for other courses. So I have everything installed, but I think that I'm using, as of now, I'm using older version of Ruby. But here we are using, Ruby 2.4.1.
Yeah, 2.4. It's here, I highlighted it.
Okay.
So that's in the README as well.
And we are using Rails 5.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not a big deal, because once you install all the dependencies, Rails itself is a dependency, and the exact version will be installed. So all you have to do is just make sure that you have Ruby installed, and for the front end, you also need Node, NPM, and so on.
Okay.
It's also written here.
Okay, I will have the application. So this is the latest version, yes? Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the last time. These are the versions the last time I ran it on my machine.
Okay.
So if you don't want to have any surprises, I would suggest that you try to install those versions.
Okay, I will do that, and I will clone the GitHub repository as well.
Yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So just install everything, like these things here. You have to do that on your own. I have no idea. This is operating system dependent. So for me, it's different than for you. I'm using Linux, and I can just use my package manager to install all those things.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how you have to do it on Cloud9. I think it's Ubuntu. Is it true?
I think so. I'm not sure. It's possible. Let me check.
Yeah, I think Ubuntu should be pretty fine. That's the operating system of our build server. Do you know what a build server is?
No.
So a build server is a remote server, usually, that runs all the tests and optionally deploys the application. And you see this green label here, build passing.
Okay, so I mean, like, if tests are okay, then it deploys the application.
Exactly. So we have a build server, and we are using Traverse CI. You can click on this green label here, and then you will see the latest build of the Traverse CI build server.
Okay.
Here, for example, I committed something, fixed typo, and it passed. So green means all the tests have passed. Right? So there are front-end tests, there are back-end tests, and there are full-stack tests. And yes, so this is a feature branch, as you can see. Feature branch, I prefix them usually with the issue number. So I was working on issue number 214, and so I prefixed the branch with 214. We can also check out the master branch on this build server. It is here, the default branch at the very top. And when you, for example, merge a feature branch into the master will be built as well. So when the master branch passes, Traverse CI will deploy the application, and you can see that here, deploying your application. Can you see it?
No, you have some problem with connection. I have a message here. Hello, Bitster is having connectivity issues.
Ah, okay. Anyhow, at the end of the log, you would see the deployment. And that's how we deploy our application. The application is live. You can notice.
Yes, I've seen the application.
That's it. So real users are using it, real people.
Mhm.
I will also be on a conference the weekend after next weekend talking about this project. And yeah, we have one new user for today, for example.
Mhm.
Yeah? So it's a real application, serves a real purpose. I can also explain something about the purpose behind it if you want, but if you're just interested in learning.
I read the description.
Yeah, great. That's also something I learned. I guess for you learners, it's better to explain the technology behind it than the purpose. Is that right?
I know the purpose. I know the technology as well. So I think I'm pretty familiar now with the application.
Cool. Yeah. So I would say the first task for you would be to install this application on Cloud9 and make sure that you are able to run those tests. Because if the tests pass on Cloud9, you can be pretty sure that the application is working as expected.
And could you explain one more time how from my Cloud9 desktop, how do I run those tests when I install my application there?
Yes, that's a very good question. So usually every good README on GitHub should have a section how you can, first of all, run the application and how you can run the tests. So this is how you can run full stack tests.
Okay.
There are front-end tests and there are back-end tests. All right. So I would just show it to you how it looks like on my machine right now. So I'm opening two terminals. I hope you can see that.
Yes.
And I'm in one terminal, I will go into the backend folder, and in the other terminal, I will go into the frontend folder. And there are two folders, frontend and backend. And I can run here. Okay. So first of all, I will show you how you can boot up the application, and then I will show you how to test it. Okay.
Okay.
So just if you just want to boot the application, you would, for example, say ember. That's a global command. Space serve or server, whatever. Enter, and then the Ember will then bundle and build all the HTML and JavaScript files for you. It takes a while.
Okay.
In the backend, you can say bin/rails server.
Okay. So I used to have
boot up the backend. Sorry?
I have to have two servers running at the same time, front and backend.
Exactly. And this is also how the actual application works. So you can, for example, see the network request to the backend here. I'm hitting refresh. There are some requests going to our web server. But for example, you can, here, you see a request to the backend. I don't know if you can actually see it, but
yes.
There's api.rundfunkmitbestimmen.de. And this is the backend. You can also open that in a new tab, and you will see the response of our backend. This is the backend runs at api.rundfunkmitbestimmen.de.
Okay.
Yeah. This is basically just the data that you can see here. So this is live data. It's updated whenever you do a request. So it's also great to have this to examine the network request here in your browser. You know those tools already, do you?
Yes.
One more thing, maybe there's a browser extension Ember Inspector, and that's really helpful. So you can, for example, if you want to develop with Ember, it's great for debugging. So I can, for example, see the data, the last data of this model here, which is displayed here as well. Or I can see the tree, different routes, and so on.
And this Ember extension, I have to install it, or is
yes.
it?
Yes, you have to install it. The developer tools are on every desktop browser, Firefox, Chrome, whatever.
Yeah.
And this Ember Inspector is a browser plugin. Then you have to install it.
Okay.
Cool. So I think on my local machine, we have the Ember application running. Not yet. It takes a while. I have a very slow hard drive. So do you have an SSD in your laptop?
Yes. No, I don't have a laptop. I have a desktop computer.
Yeah, and you're using Cloud9 anyway, so.
Yes. I like Cloud9 very much. It's much easier to install everything than on Windows 10.
Yeah, I'm not having an SSD drive, so it takes quite a while for the Ember server because of all the I/O.
And you use Linux, yes?
Yes, I'm using Linux. I'm using Arch Linux.
I'm thinking about installing a virtual machine on my Windows 10.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can go start with the Linux right away. Not a big deal. So now the Ember server is running on my machine. You can see that here it says build successful, and usually you can then go to localhost port 4200, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm hitting enter now, and there you can see just the same application that is running right now on our production server, with one difference. The database dump is a little bit old, so yeah, I think we have now 579 users instead of 577 users.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is just the old server, and the front end is making requests to the backend, as you can see here, and the backend is also running on my local machine. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see it there. This is going to localhost 3000. So the Rails server is running on localhost port number 3000. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Great. Cool. Yeah. So this is how you run the application, and then you can do whatever you like. You can, I don't know, you can log in. That's not a problem. So if you don't want to log in on the production server, you can also log in here, and it's not a big deal. There will be an email sent to you, but don't worry, you will not, for example, pollute the production database. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Great. Cool. Okay, so the last thing for today, I would say, is I will show you how to run the tests. Okay?
Okay.
So I will open 2 new terminals. One in front end again, and one in the backend folder. So the front end tests, as you can see in the README, you can just say Ember test -- server to the terminal, and Ember will then run front end tests. The backend test working similar. You just have to say bin/rspec. I'll do that in the other terminal now. Enter. And it takes a while. I think the backend is a little bit quicker.
And what kind of testing applications do you use for backend? rspec?
Yes, we are using rspec as the testing framework.
Okay. Are you using Cucumber? Or?
I'm using also Cucumber. I will come to that later.
Okay.
So you can see the rspec test running on the terminal on the right. They should be all green. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there's a typo. Ingord.
I see that the application is in a very advanced stage. Yes.
What do you mean by advanced?
Well, how in percent, how advanced is application? I mean, how far into finishing it are you right now? Like 70%?
How much of the planned features are implemented?
No. Well, my question is, how finished this application is? What is the state of its completeness?
So I can tell you, I can actually answer this question, because if you're doing agile development, software is never finished.
Okay.
Right. So it really depends on the user requirements.
Okay.
And there's so many features we have to implement, and we have to make it. We have to talk to many people what they want. The goal is, the ultimate goal is to have some kind of impact, and I have no idea when this will be reached. Right. So this whole application just serves as a proof of concept. Let's say, look, this is how easy it is to implement something for people, so they can they get a say, and it's easy to use, and people have an interest to do so, right? So that's actually the goal. It's not the software itself. This is a social project, so we are trying to improve something. We want to help people. We want to solve a problem. The problem is public broadcasting is expensive and has poor quality, and nobody has a say. And this is the problem we want to solve. And we are just proposing something like, look, this is how we could do it, right? And there are many features we want to implement. If you want to get a feeling, for example, you can go to the visualizations tab, and some of those features are somehow implemented, like this one. Others are more or less implemented, like this one. So it says, hooray, you found an incomplete feature. And there it says what is implemented and what is yet to be implemented, right? Okay. Or other features who are not implemented at all, like this one. Yeah? So, for example, this one is the change of support for certain broadcasts over time. Let's say we have people voting on broadcasts, and they change their mind, and new people are coming, and you want to see trends, right? Yeah, so there's a lot to do, really. It is a prototype. It is already working in a sense, but there's much more to do. I can promise you. There's a lot of work still missing.
So there are still things to be done in Rails as of now, or only Ember?
Yes, many things, both Ember and Rails. Okay. So, for example, this one will be a tricky one. I don't know. You know the suggestions on, for example, Amazon. You buy one product, and Amazon will tell you maybe you want to, or other people have also buy this one, right?
Yes.
We want to implement something similar, although we don't want to give suggestions. We just want to visualize relationships between broadcasts. And this is a really tricky one. This is a very backend heavy task. Or this will be a very backend heavy task. It will be. It will. I don't know. Include some heavy data analysis technologies. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't thought that through.
And do we have an algorithm for that, or you have to think about something?
There is an algorithm for that. I mean, Amazon is doing it, and we are probably using the same algorithm. Okay. The algorithms are researched, and they are out there, but you have to implement them.
Okay.
I mean, if you're interested, you can, for example, look for what's the term? I think collaborative filtering, and then you will probably, for example, there's a Wikipedia article, and there's a lot of some video tutorials from Stanford and so on. It's interesting.
So we can get such an algorithm from somewhere and then implement it in Rails or Ember.
I mean, maybe there's something already out there for Rails, in particular, collaborative filtering Rails. Ruby and collaborative filtering in Rails 2010, quite outdated.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to do some research, obviously. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but there is plenty of resources out there. I don't know if we actually need something like a GAM. I think the algorithm is pretty straightforward. We can implement it probably on our own. We will see.
Okay.
It's very interesting, however.
Yes. So once I have the application installed on my Cloud9 desktop,
Yeah.
and I have all tests passing,
Yes.
then I should go to the site basically and look for incomplete features, yes, and choose something.
Yes, so you can just get back to me and tell me, hey, Robert, I successfully installed it, and I'm pretty sure that you will run into some problems. So you can get back to me and say, hey, Robert, I've got some problems. Can you help me? And then we'll say, yes, sure. Give me the, tell me what's your Cloud9 account, and so on.
Okay.
Just one thing I want to show you. You have seen how the backend tests are how they look like.
Yes.
We also have front-end tests, and you can either see them in the terminal right here on the left side. Phantom.js testing all the tests in the terminal, but you also can see those in the browser if you visit, for example, localhost 7357. You will see this. So you can see like different parts of our applications. Goes very quick. Are tested in the browser, and you can see like they all pass. For example, some of them are rather slow. That's the red label here. But they should all pass. So this is the front end and the back end part regarding software testing. And software testing, by the way, this is really great for you as a learner. It's an advanced way of developing, but it was for me a life-changing skill. Like as soon as I started with software testing and software testing first, I never wanted to go back anymore. It is so great that like it changes everything. It changes the way how you develop. Like it forces you to write modular code. And it gives you very great confidence in your developing skills. That's great. So this is the front end part and the back end part. Now, we also have full stack tests, so tests that are both testing the front end and the back end as well. Okay?
Okay.
And you can see them here. They're a little bit trickier. So since they test both applications, we have to boot up both applications and then in a third terminal run the actual full stack tests. Does that make sense? So it says that you have to boot the Ember application in a special environment, which is called full stack, right? You say Ember server environment full stack. I will do that here. Come on, takes a while. In the meantime, I can just paste the command for the backend. So the backend command is bin rails server minus environment full stack. You hit enter, and you can do the same thing in the front end. So what's the deal with those environments? We have, for example, an authentication provider, which is called auth0. So when you sign in, you make a request to an external service, right?
Okay. And do we have this? External service stopped or?
So this external service is here. I'm one of the clients, so I can log in, and they can.
I mean, during testing, do we have this external service stopped or?
Yes, that's the thing. So when you do software testing, you don't want to make those requests, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because, for example, when you test, I'm creating a new user account. You don't want to create a new user account whenever the build server is running all the tests.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So there's another thing that you can also Google. It's called stubbing out external services for testing. That's very, very important. So you want to have your testing environment isolated,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we are using those environments to create an application which is isolated from the authentication provider.
Okay.
So there will be no requests going out to auth 0, and our build server will not make any requests to auth 0. Okay? And instead, this application in this environment is slightly different. So you are just authenticated automatically. Okay?
Okay.
That's the thing. So whenever you click on I'm logged in, then you are logged in immediately.
Okay.
In a way. And that's how you stub out external services. That's very interesting for you. And if you want, you can Google that, or just ask me if you have any questions. It was kind of tricky to get that set up. All right, so now the Ember server is up and running. So it is also running now on localhost 4200. Now this is the Ember application in testing in full stack environment, right? So, and now I'm opening up a third terminal. And this terminal is, I have to run it from the root path. So since the tests are they're testing front end and back end simultaneously, those tests are in a folder called features, and that's where we have our Cucumber features. So Cucumber is just some English description for your tests. It's not a testing framework per se. It's more a philosophy. It's more a concept. So you just write down user stories and write down some scenarios in plain English or German or Polish, whatever you want, whatever suits best for you. And the different steps, these sentences, are then linked with the code that actually runs some software testing. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, I already wrote some Cucumber tests.
Great. Then you will probably know the command bundle exec cucumber. Right. So I'm now running this command after both applications are in full stack environment. Right.
Okay.
And this command will run a browser and will then run full stack tests. I hope you can see it.
Yes.
So for example, here it's editing a broadcast, and probably it's expecting that a broadcast is then created in the database, and so on and so on. Right? And if you are able to run those tests, you're basically done. You can be sure that you set up everything as you should.
All right.
Okay. So I guess this is a great. Is this a good task for a start?
Yes, I think it's enough.
Great.
I think it's enough. I will try to do it as soon as possible, and I will. I think I will join you on Monday. Yes, we have this meeting Monday. This Monday.
Can you say it again? I couldn't hear
you. I think that we'll meet again on next Monday. Yes, we have a meeting for this project next Monday.
Yeah, that's another thing. So we still don't have an actual time slot where we meet regularly. For me, I found out that Monday isn't suiting me very well because I'm a master's student right now, and I have an appointment on Tuesday, and usually I'm very, very busy on Monday. So for me, it's actually better if we meet at Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Okay, it's fine for me.
Yeah, so we have a doodle for this. I can share the link for the doodle, and you can just say what's best for you. Yes, this is it. So there are only 4 people right now who gave their preferences. So these times are in UTC, Universal Time. So you're in Poland, so you have to add 2 hours.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Great, cool. So I'll put that into the Slack channel. Cool. Good.
So thank you very much for today.
I hope you learned already something. So you learned something. You learned what's the build server. You learned the difference between. You learned something about single-page applications and JavaScript frameworks, right? You learned why it is important to stop out external requests in testing, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's also very important for me. Give me any kind of feedback because I want to give the contributors a good experience, a good learning experience, right?
Yes, great.
It's really important for me because it's my first time, and it is. I'm also learning myself how to run an open source project like this, right? It's my very first time. I haven't done this before. It's very, very different from everything I was working in before. So I would very much appreciate any kind of feedback.
Okay, I will remember about it. Okay, I will.
Great.
I will try to give you feedback as often as possible.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you very much, and have a nice evening as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.